things just get from bad to worse with West Ham. Let's get into this one because we know right now that there are going to be fan protests ahead of the Crystal Palace and Brentford games at the London Stadium. There's been a vote of no confidence letter that has been put forward to the board. Now the board have a spokesman for the board have replied in kind or not so kind, basically saying that this doesn't help and that they're not providing any solutions. Well, let's just put this down black and white, shall we? It's not up to the fans to lead this club. It's not up to the fans to show you what the solutions are. You should already have the solutions. And I'm going to take umbrage as well with a lot of the media, because there's been a lot of the channels, which I've seen, West Ham channels, fan channels, and what I've witnessed as well, saying that the mainstream media, or, like the radio and Sky Sports and TalkSport, of the likes, right, they're kind of asking the same questions that we've been asking. They've kind of turned it around a little bit. And what I've seen is, yes, there is a little bit of that, but there are also still those dissenting voices within the powers that be. And let's not forget, right, mainstream media, especially the likes of Sky Sports and Talk Radio or Talk Sport, they will change their opinion as the wind changes, as well as the wind blows. They're fickle. Talk about fickle fans. They're as fickle as you like. They've never really wanted to see what we see as West Ham fans. So I'll take you back to our favourites, Jim White and his cronies there, and Simon Jordan, and basically Jim White was asking him this week. Well, he's kind of playing devil's advocate with Simon Jordan and saying, and he was kind of trying to voice on the side of West Ham fans, when every single time in the past he's never done that. He's always said, what do they want? What do they expect? And Simon Jordan comes on and he's kind of meeting us halfway, but he's still with that sneering kind of attitude. And he's basically saying, well, what is it that they want? What is it, talk about the scouting network. Well, what is it they want? Do they want it changed out? They're missing the whole fucking point here. The whole fucking point is that this board, this ownership has won us with 15 years. You're 15 years down the line, and we're worried. We're talking about scouting networks. We're worried and we're questioning the running of this club. How they're running this club. We're not talking about an ownership who's just taken over or who've just been there for a couple of years, and then we're asking, come on, you need to get your act together. They've had it for 15 fucking years. So that's, so to kind of sneer at us as West Ham fans or any mainstream media to kind of think, what do you expect the owners to do? Well, yes, a lot more, because they've been there for so long. So they need to do better. Now, if they had all the processes in place, if they ran the club properly, if they engaged with the fans and made their best efforts all the time, and they got a track record of it, then you can't blame the board. You can't blame the ownership. You can't blame the club structure. You can just blame the manager and the players, right? For poor performances. That's what you would be. And as a football fan, that's what you should be either cheering on, rejoicing, or criticising. You should be on the highs and the lows on the performance of the team, the players, and the goals that we score and the goals that we concede, right? That's what you should be. We shouldn't really be talking about, or we shouldn't have the need to talk about how a club is run. So there's so many variables, and as a West Ham fan, you would know it. Everybody on the outside kind of doesn't know. And this is why this, fan group and, the protest and the petition that, I've always put the link to, it's all gaining ground here. It's all gaining weight. And this is why mainstream media have kind of looked onto it, latched onto it, and this is why they're looking onto, they can't ignore how we've done in the league last year. And the last few years. And they always talk about the European success that we had with the Conference League win. And David Moyes was and even some fans have come out and said, David Moyes was fantastic for what he did. Hold on a minute. Let's not forget, the first two seasons, we had a 6th and 7th position finish. That gave us a Europa League, and it gave us a Conference League. The Europa League, we got to the semi-finals, and the Conference League, the following year, we got to win. So we had that 2-year breeding ground. But in that period, most of one season and the start of the next season, we was all behind closed doors. It was all because of COVID. That's when we had our purple patch. But as soon as we got into the next season and we got into sort of December time, then we started falling off the edge of a cliff. And a lot of that was down to Moyes, the way he was playing football. We were getting results a lot of the time, but they weren't great results. They weren't great performances, and the performance got less and less and less. So whilst in Europe we started to do well, our league form went down the toilet. So you can't ignore that. You can't ignore just because we're West Ham, we should be thankful for any manager that keeps us in the league, that any manager that brings us some success. But that was built on basically a season, crossing over 2 seasons. But everything else just fell to pot. Now, look, I'm forever thankful of David Moyes, but I'm not. I'm never going to sit here and say he was fantastic for us and he was, he couldn't put a foot wrong. He was fantastic because we won the Conference League. Brilliant. But there was so many issues with David Moyes. So many issues with our style of play, our performances and everything like that. Last couple of seasons, they were woeful in the league. Then we ditch him for Lopetegui, like for like kind of a manager, and it just went disastrously wrong. We go again with Potter, pretty much disastrously went wrong. Now, we've got to think, I've already made a video about last weekend's performance against Nottingham Forest, but that doesn't solve anything, West Ham. So the mainstream media kind of look at what the managers that we've had, or basically David Moyes has brought us success, and they use that as a baiting stick to say, oh, hold on a minute, you had this, and you wanted to get rid of him. They always ignore what goes on the pitch, and they always ignore the structure of the club, how a club is run, because they don't know. And the only time their ears prick up is when fan protests come out, or when there's serious disruption, or when there is serious PR disruption on the club. And then all of a sudden, there are little golden handshakes and little deals behind the scenes that they have, these media companies and the football clubs. All of a sudden, that starts to sour a little bit. Then they start to finally understand. But make no bones about it, the media will turn on West Ham fans, or any fans of any club, if they so choose to. They will. And then they'll be slating the fans again. And then they say, oh, well, you're never happy. Well, I'm sorry, we're never happy because things are not done right. The club has not been run right. And if we're talking about the structure of the club, 15 years, this lot have been in charge. And it's taken us out of a stadium, a home stadium, that was as much part of the identity of West Ham and as part of the identity of every fan. Whether you went to the games or not, whether you lived on the other side of the world, which I did, for a few years as well, or not, it's still you identify with your club, your stadium, your home, your area. That's it. That's you. And you're told that you're going to go to another stadium and it's going to be a lot better, a lot different, a lot better. And we went to a stadium that just wasn't fit. It wasn't fit for watching football and the fan experience. And that's the problem. The problem, it was built on lies. It was built on ways to get money. It wasn't in the interest of the club. It wasn't in the interest of the fans. It wasn't in the interest of the team. It was the interest of David Gold, David Sullivan, Karen Brady. It was to line their pockets, and that's what it was all about. I've talked about, my friends from Birmingham City fans as well, and they said this. They said exactly the same when they left as well. It's all about them. It's not about the fans. It's not about the club. Mainstream media don't know this. They can't see it. They won't see it. They refuse to see it. They think that the pariahs on the block are always the fans. It's got nothing to do with the ownership. It's got nothing to do with the way we're playing as a team. And then you bring that forward. Well, it's the ineptitude of a board of an ownership to have a structure in place, to have director of football, to have proper scouting, have proper training facilities, not in porter cabins for fuck's sake, proper training facilities. And also that you're selecting managers and selecting players for managers that will play a kind of football that the fan base want to see. How fucking hard is this to work out as an owner? So it shows you, and the mainstream media should know this. It should be as plain as day that they do not understand what West Ham fans want to see. They've never understood it, and it should be plain as day to the media or anybody that the ownership do not understand what West Ham want to see. All they want to see is West Ham stay in the Premier League. They don't care what football it is. They don't care what results it is. As long as we stay in the league, that's all that matters. Well, so many times we've flown so close to the flames here, getting relegated, that that house of cards could come tumbling down really, really quickly, financially speaking. The way they've run this club, the support of this club, is for their own ends. It's not for the fan base, and it's certainly not for the team. It's certainly not for anything else. And you could talk all you like about the success of David Moyes. You could talk all you like about Conference League wins and a couple of decent runs in the Europa League, and a 6th and 7th place finish. But you take that and you see the fall from grace that's happened, where we should be building on. The whole point of moving to a stadium like that was to generate successes and build upon those successes. That's what was promised. World-class team and a world-class stadium, right? None of that was delivered for a few years. That's why it got so bad. That's why it got so toxic. Then everybody started realising this is all lies. But on top of all that, when you talk about West Ham, when you talk about any club, this is not a West Ham particular thing, but any club in the world, and you talk about the ownership that does not engage with the fan base properly, that kind of looks down their noses at the fan base, that doesn't want to have regular meetings with fans, that doesn't reach out directly, and you've got your own media team, you've got your own people there, that you could put out videos left, right and centre. You could have a weekly call, a weekly, chat with the fans, as it were. You could do it so easily. And not just now. The point is, you should have been doing this from years ago. Years ago, when I started making sort of, YouTube videos and stuff about West Ham, one of my biggest criticisms was their media team is shocking. The way the club has a media team is rubbish. The way they had their website was rubbish. Now, people would say, well, that's just, what does that matter? It matters in the modern way of communicating with masses of people. And the way you're doing it, you need to do it on social media fronts, but you need to do it through your official media channel, West Ham Media, right? West Ham United Media, on their, whether it's on their socials, whether it's on their YouTube channel, whatever it is, or through their website, a live link. They should be doing it. They should be engaging with the fans. They should be trying to speak to fans on match days. But no, they just come in via the back door. It's almost like it's all cloak and dagger stuff. They never speak to them. Then, instead of speaking to us directly, they go on to TalkSport. Or they talk about unity. We should be together. How can we be united if you're never wanting to engage with the fans? And this is the problem. It's gone on for way too long. Don't believe the media, even if they're on our side temporarily. Don't believe them, because they will turn their backs on us. Certainly don't believe the club, the structure of the club, the way it's run, and any spokesman who defends that. And I will throw players under the bus on this one as well, or ex-players on the bus on this as well, regardless of what their status is, regardless of what their legendary status is. If anybody defends the way we're run as a club and the ownership model, it's just, well, you're not West Ham then, are you? You can't be. You can't be West Ham. You can defend a manager in terms of our performance and stick with him, even though, we're not getting the results. I get it, because I would do the same, right? But I will not stand here or sit here and defend an ownership that has just mismanaged the club for years and years and years. And anybody who can't see that, or any media team or any ex-player or any pundit who can't see that, then you're not seeing anything. You're not seeing what we're seeing. And the point is, the club let themselves down. The spokesmen let themselves down again, time and time again. They let themselves down because they know protests are coming. They don't want to see it. They want to head this off as best they can, and they come out with something saying, "Well, we're not offering solutions. We are not the ones who should be offering solutions. You're the ones who should be offering solutions, and you should have done this many years ago." Again, you're trying to deflect and put the blame on the fans as opposed to taking any ownership of any failures or any issues that you have. There's nothing wrong with us. It's everybody else. Typical bad mismanagement here. You can't even see what the problem is. And the point is now, fans just want them out of the club. They want them out of the club because there's going to be no change with them. There'll be no change. I said, I've repeatedly said over the years, so if we've got success, if we've got a good running club, or they, immediately overnight did that for us, then a lot of fans will come back on board. But repeatedly over the years, it hasn't happened. Or we thought, things might change. It hasn't happened. So for many years, I thought, well, you're the wrong owners for our club. You shouldn't be even here. You're not doing it right. Anything you're not doing wrong. So you should be out. So now it's gathered momentum. Maybe media are listening to us and pundits are listening to us. Some ex-players have always been on our side. They've got it right from the very word go. Others are still on the payroll for West Ham. And I will throw the likes of, Carlton Cole under the bus. I will throw the likes of Mark Noble under the bus as well. Because I've had my issues with them as well. Especially Mark Noble a few years ago. When we first went to the London Stadium, we were having a poor run of results. And he came out on a Sky Sports interview that he was at some player event. He came out and he basically said, well, what do the fans know? They don't even know what they're talking about. I never forgave him for that. And I never forgive any player who turns on the fans. COVID, oh no, we're the fans. We love the fans. Everything the fans. Oh, nothing. The game is nothing without fans. Guess what? A few years later, look, blaming the fans again. Because what do they know? Oh God, they're not bringing any solutions. We need to be united, not in pulling us apart. No, the only people who are pulling us apart is the ownership, because you're not delivering what you're doing. If I run a business and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, guess what? It's going to fall apart. The people who work for me, the people who are supporters of me, are going to be disillusioned because it's not being run correctly. It's not being run in the interests of whatever it's supposed to be. This is a football club. You can earn your money still, but it is a football club. It's a particular type of business that has to appease and that has to entertain, that has to bring hope to a lot of people. It's a community thing. It works on so many different levels. You're not selling jam jars down the market here. You're not making cardboard boxes and distributing all over the world. It's a different type of business. And this is a business that they failed to realise for many, many years. I cannot believe that the club have come out with this. There's a letter of no confidence that's gone in. Protests are planned. There's a petition to be sold. It's been gathering momentum. Please lend your support to it, as I've done. But and whether you boycott the games as well, that's entirely up to you. But at the same time, the pressure's got to be put on this club of ours and the ownership to sell up, because you've had the opportunities to turn it around. You've had the opportunities to do something, and time again, you just alienate yourself from the fan base. And even West Ham, I'm sure there'll be some West Ham fans saying, what all these lot moaning about? What do they want? What do they want? We've done all right. What do they want? They're not seeing what we're seeing. And you're going to have a situation where we're just going to keep on. If we're lucky to stay in the Premier League, there's a situation where this will just keep on getting worse and worse and worse. Sullivan's no spring chicken as well. So if, let's say, he popped his clog tomorrow, God knows what would happen to West Ham. You know, what would happen? What would be the legacy of that? And if we, do you know what? And I've said this before. If we got relegated, for me, it would solve a lot of issues in many ways. I wouldn't stop being a West Ham fan just because we got relegated. But I tell you what, there are a lot of people who would. There are a lot of people who would. I don't know. Really disappointed in the club this week in response to the protest, in response to the letter of no confidence. Really disappointed because they could have headed this off years ago by simple things about interacting with the fan base, the whole fan base, not just a core group of fan base, not just fan groups, not just YouTube channels. I'm saying the whole fan base. They could have reached everybody on a regular basis. They could have done a parallel system, their own media, and also going on to mainstream media. They could have done it so many times. They could have put proper investment in. They could put, structures in place, directors of football. They could have put, managers in and players in that represent or would want to represent or try and deliver the kind of football that we want to see. And make no bones about it. It's not that we achieve things. It's not that we see the West Ham way football, every week or every minute of the game. This is what everybody fucking fails to realise all the time. It's not about we deserve something better. It's not that we deserve to win things or we should be winning things or anything like that. It's about the attempt, the trying to do that. To try and deliver that kind of football, to try and deliver that kind of performance, and to try and win things, to keep on going for things, for domestic cups, league cups, going out in the first round to Wolves, terrible. How many years have we gone crap in the cups? FA Cup, crap. And what are we doing? What are we doing here? You're not trying. You're not trying to bring any kind of success. You're not trying to play any kind of football, any attacking football, because you keep on putting the wrong managers in who prefer defence over attack, who just do not have a balanced view of us. And we're not buying the players and going in strong with players. And we're not putting the funds in the club, which we've obviously earned, the money that we've earned, into investing in new players. So it's wrong. It's wrong. The way we run this club is wrong. They failed on so many times, so many seasons, and then they wonder why we want them out. Then they wonder why we as a fan base, a big percentage of the fan base, don't want them here. I get it. New generation fans, Premier League fans going into the London Stadium, never went to Upton Park. It doesn't matter if you went to Upton Park, but I get it that you're in the Premier League. You just want to stay there, and we've had a bit of success, and what do we expect, and and you don't want to think about the board stuff and everything. I get it, because I'm a bit like that as well. I don't want to think about that, because as I said right at the start, West Ham fans, as a fan base, any fan of any club, you should be thinking about the football. That's what your focus should be on, football. Whether we win, whether we lose, our performances, our players, all that kind of stuff. That's and the style of play. But what feeds that, what supports that, is actually what's going on in the background. And if that's not happening, guess what? Nothing's happening. And nothing's been happening for way too long on West Ham. All the things that could have been rectified and they haven't rectified it. It's been actually a fucking joke. Honestly, absolute joke. The petition's going to go on, keep on going on. Please sign that. The protests are going to go on. I don't know if anything's going to be for the Tottenham game this coming weekend. I'll be going to the Tottenham game, but I don't know if anybody, because I think it's for the Crystal Palace and the Brentford, because obviously they have to liaise with the police to obviously get that protest in place. Or you just boycott the game, the Crystal Palace game. You boycott it. And I think I might just do that. I might just boycott it as well. But the problem is, if you're going to boycott the game, then you've got to boycott the whole game and the whole stand. It's almost like the whole Billy Bond stand has got to boycott the game, because that's where the focus, and also Trevor Booker and Bobby Moore stands. Those are the ones that, because that's where the cameras are going to see. So those have got to be empty. So it's got to be, something that is obvious to the public, to the football fans, that no, they're boycotting here. Then nobody's turning up. Because if it's just a few fans here and there, it's not going to be a thing. If fans, start leaving after 10 minutes, or don't turn up, in 10 minutes after the game has started, then that's kind of normal, right? So it's got to be something that's hard hitting, that they want to talk about, and there's a meaning for it. But the other hand, I don't know, is it better to be in the stadium, everybody protesting in the stadium, booing, the ownership, all chanting, BSOUT, BSOUT. I don't know. I think, personally, if there's a massive voice in the stadium, there's protests before and a massive voice in the stadium, I don't know. I think that'd probably be a better thing. Might get more media attention. I don't know. Boycott it, protest it, do whatever you want. But, things are needed to change. They haven't changed. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you don't want to do it, keep on watching. Tottenham coming up. You hope, just on the football side, you hope that we can put on a performance. You hope that Potter doesn't revert back to some defensive setup. You hope, because if he immediately does, then we're lost. We've lost this this war with Potter, and he needs to go. I've already said he needs to go anyway. I'm not convinced by him. Never have been. But the players need to, show up there as well. They need to prove themselves that they're going to go on the front foot. Let us know your thoughts. Catch you again. Bye now.